So we haven't done an audio video in a while, and I don't think we've ever done a video over the boat, so today we're going to kill two birds with one stone. This is our 2006 Moomba Mobius XLV, which basically was the largest boat they had at the time. I think it's 23.5 foot in fiberglass. It measures or was rated at 25 foot with the swim platform. It's been through a couple of audio system upgrades. I know one or two before I bought the boat. Then when I bought it, I completely went through it and rewired everything. Anyway, we lost one of our amps last year, so we're going to replace it today. So before we get too far ahead of ourselves with this install, let's see what we're working with. The boat has 6 total of these Wetsounds XS650 speakers. These are 6.5 inch. They are 100 watts each RMS and 200 peak. So they're capable of a lot of power handling, and they can sound pretty good if they're powered correctly. We got 2 more in the front. I did replace these year before last. I think the sun really got to the other ones that were there after probably 10 or 15 years. Up top we've got the Wetsounds REVO 10s, which are 10-inch tower speakers. I have them on the swivel mount, and they're quick release, which these things are rad because you take like a 6mm Allen wrench and loosen that, and the collar pulls back and the speaker just drops off. The wiring stays in the tower. There's no connections to make. Pretty awesome. Anyway, went with the REVO 10s up top. I honestly would probably recommend maybe the Pro 80s for surfing, because you might get a lot more of your mid-range and bass sound audibly closer, maybe with less power. The 10s are basically there for projecting the sound further back, like if someone's wakeboarding versus right close to the boat surfing. For the subwoofer, we've got Wetsounds also, like every other speaker in the boat, and we've got the REVO 12 HP, which is a monster. It's a 500 watt RMS subwoofer. It doesn't require a ginormous enclosure. I think 1.1 cubic foot sealed and maybe 1.7 cubic foot ported. So if you don't know what that means, you probably don't need to know, and you're going to pay someone else to build your enclosure for you anyway. Powering the end boats, we used to have a SYN-DX, which is the old chrome Wetsounds amp. That's a 6-channel. It makes plenty of power, but it kind of aged out and started having issues. So we got rid of it last year, and instead of replacing it with another Wetsounds amp, we spent about the same amount of money, but we bought this audio Control LC-6.1200. The thing we love about this is not just that it's a great quality amplifier and has the built-in crossover network, but this MILC, which is the source clip detection, basically will lower the output of the amp when it recognizes clipping at the end, which is the speaker. So you don't have to be a rocket surgeon to tune this thing, but it helps. So we get in here where the business is, and I haven't cleaned up all the wires completely, so don't judge me. There's a couple of our batteries. We have 2 more in the back. You can see this cable runs to those. A battery switch, and with distribution block. We do have a large circuit breaker, and then we've got our ground distribution panel and power distribution panel. Of course, this is after the circuit breaker. And our old SYN-2, yeah, SYN-2, still holding on. That's what's running that 12-inch sub. So these are great amps to last as long as they do. This is a newer model. This is a SYN-DX2.3 HP. So this is a super high-powered 2-channel amp, and this is what we're running those REVO 10s on the tower with, because they can handle everything you throw at them. So yeah. To be fair, for Wetsounds, this plate does cover up that panel, but I may want to make adjustments. Another pro tip with tuning your audio system in a boat: you can do all you want on the trailer or in a shop or in a garage, but you're going to need to do the fine tuning out on the water, because the environment makes it sound completely different. Now this is our newest addition. It's that LC-6.1200 from Audio Control. Again, I haven't cleaned this up yet because I just screwed it to it and plugged it in and make sure it works, like I always tell you to do before you start doing a bunch of detail work. So you shouldn't drive yourself crazy stressing about what all of these things mean. Basically, you've got crossover network. Now, high pass crossover means that high frequencies are going to pass through it.
and you're going to restrict the low frequencies that are going to pass through the crossover. So if you're using like these 6.5-inch in-boat speakers, you're going to want a high pass crossover adjustment, which you can turn those on and off with some of these switches. They're crossover type, high pass, band pass, crossover range. Don't get lost in the weeds here. You're going to try to put those somewhere around 80 for like speakers in the boat, right? Non-subwoofer speakers. I recommend just adjusting them, rotate it clockwise to send as much of the low frequencies as you can into that speaker before it starts to distort. Now you also have this gain control, which sends the power to the speakers, and everyone pretty much knows that. What I love about this audio control piece is it has that MILC source detection, clip detection, and the light will come on or flicker when that thing recognizes that the speakers are clipping. What that means is you've either sent too much of the wrong frequency to the speaker, and or you've got your gain turned up too high, and that speaker just can't handle that power level.
So that's my oversimplified version of audio tuning. Try to send as much as the lows as you can to your mid-bass or mid-level speakers. Also, your speakers like these tower ones, you want to send everything they can handle, because that's pretty much all the surfer's going to hear behind the boat, or wakeboard, or tubing. But with your subwoofer, it should just do subwoofer things. So if you find yourself trying to send mid-bass to it, chances are you need to upgrade your in-boat speakers where you don't send that kind of stuff to your subwoofer, because that just kills it. Also wanted to point out, video doesn't really pick up accurately the speed that subwoofer will travel, so whenever you watch that clip, it'll probably look like it's moving slow in and out. I promise you it isn't. It just can't be captured and reproduced very well on video. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, send them to me. I probably don't have the answers, but I always like comments anyway. We'll see you later.